nightclub in Minneapolis in August 1983, a benefit concert for a local dance charity was recorded almost as an afterthought, and that single, barely edited tape became one of the most famous songs of the decade. That is how most of the biggest pop records of the 1970s, 80s, and 90s actually got made. Not in a boardroom, but through breakups, phone pranks, wardrobe accidents, and songs 3 other artists turned down first. I'm your host on Pop Chronicles, and today we're counting down 10 mainstream giants who ruled pop radio for 3 straight decades, and the deeply researched, fully verified true stories behind their biggest songs. Number 10, ABBA, Dancing Queen, 1976. The song premiered before it was even released, and it wasn't at a concert, it was at a royal wedding. On June 18, 1976, ABBA performed at a televised gala at the Royal Swedish Opera in Stockholm, held the night before King Carl XVI Gustaf married Sylvia Sommerlath, the only pop act on a bill, otherwise stacked with opera and ballet. Dressed head to toe in Baroque costume to match the ceremony, Benny Andersson and Bjorn Ulvaeus debuted a song written the previous August, partly inspired by George McRae's disco hit, Rock Your Baby, a song that wouldn't even see an official single release for another 2 months. That single climbed the charts on both sides of the Atlantic, and on April 9, 1977, Dancing Queen became ABBA's only #1 hit in the United States, a song whose live debut happened, quite literally, in front of a king the night before his wedding. Number 9, Bee Gees, Stayin' Alive, 1977. 3 brothers wrote it on a staircase, in a chateau outside Paris, in a matter of days, for a movie that didn't even have a title yet. Producer Robert Stigwood asked Barry, Robin, and Maurice Gibb for songs for an untitled disco film that would become Saturday Night Fever, and the brothers wrote Stayin' Alive almost as quickly as the words came to them, working through a run of songs for a soundtrack shot before it even had a name. Mid-session, drummer Dennis Bryan left after his mother passed away, so engineers looped a few bars of his existing drum track to keep the rhythm going, accidentally inventing one of pop music's first true drum loops, a technique that would shape dance production for decades. That same 103 beats per minute groove carried John Travolta's opening strut down a Brooklyn sidewalk on December 14, 1977, helping push the soundtrack to more than 40 million copies sold worldwide. And decades later, medical instructors began using that exact tempo to teach the public the rhythm of CPR chest compressions. Number 8, Fleetwood Mac, Dreams, 1977. She wrote it in about 10 minutes, on a borrowed piano, while her own 8-year relationship was quietly falling apart down the hall. Stevie Nicks slipped into an empty studio at the record plant in Sausalito in early 1976, a room once used by Sly Stone, sat at a Fender Rhodes, and wrote Dreams, almost on instinct, while her relationship with bandmate Lindsey Buckingham was ending after 8 years together. Nearly everyone in Fleetwood Mac was breaking up with someone that year. Nicks and Buckingham, John and Christine McVie's collapsing marriage, even drummer Mick Fleetwood's own divorce. And somehow all of it got poured into the sessions for Rumors, an album that has since sold more than 40 million copies worldwide. Dreams reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on June 18, 1977, becoming the band's only American chart topper, and more than 40 years later, a single video of a man skateboarding to work while drinking cranberry juice sent it roaring back onto the charts almost overnight. Number 7, Eagles, Hotel California, 1977. He wrote the music on a 4-track recorder in a rented beach house, and a year later, when it came time to record it properly, he'd genuinely forgotten what he'd played. Guitarist Don Felder built the eerie, unforgettable instrumental for Hotel California almost by accident, layering a 12-string guitar over a Rhythm Ace drum machine in his spare bedroom, then handed the tape to Don Henley and Glenn Frey to finish. Just prisoners here of our own device. Henley wrote lyrics about the glittering, hollow excess of the Los Angeles music industry, what he later called the uneasy balance between art and commerce. And by the time the band sat down at Criteria Studios in Miami to record the guitar solo, over a year had passed since Felder's original demo, and he had to relearn his own part from scratch. Released as a single on February 22, 1977, Hotel California hit number 1 that May, went on to sell more than 16 million copies in the United States alone, and won the Grammy for Record of the Year, though the Eagles didn't even show up to collect it. Number 6, Tina Turner, What's Love Got to Do with It, 1984. 3 other artists said no before it ever reached her, and even then, she almost turned it down too. What's Love Got to Do with It, written by Terry Britten and Graham Lyle, had already been rejected by Cliff Richard, Donna Summer, and Phyllis Hyman before it landed with Tina Turner, who was 44 years old and rebuilding her career years after escaping an abusive marriage to Ike Turner. Turner later admitted she called the song terrible the first time she heard the demo, a track she almost passed on entirely, until producer Terry Britten reworked it specifically to fit her voice and persuaded her to give it another listen. She recorded it for her comeback album, Private Dancer, which went on to sell more than 20 million copies worldwide, and on August 31st, 1984, the single hit number 1, making Turner one of the oldest women ever to top the American singles chart, then winning her the Grammy for both Record of the Year and Song of the Year in 1985. Number 5, Madonna, Like a Virgin, 1984. She wanted a live Bengal tiger on stage. MTV said, absolutely not. At the very first MTV Video Music Awards, held at Radio City Music Hall on September 14, 1984, Madonna emerged from a 17-foot wedding cake in a white bridal gown to perform Like a Virgin, a song from an album that hadn't even hit stores yet. While rolling on the floor, reaching for a shoe that had slipped off, her dress rode up on live national television, a completely unplanned wardrobe moment that producers zoomed the cameras straight into instead of cutting away, turning a small mistake into the most talked about performance of the night. That single unscripted accident helped turn a relatively unknown 26-year-old singer into a permanent pop culture fixture, and Like a Virgin went on to become Madonna's first #1 album in America and the first album by a female artist to sell more than 5 million copies in the United States. Number 4, Prince, Purple Rain, 1984. He sent an early demo to Stevie Nicks first, hoping she'd write the lyrics for him. She said no. Prince's earliest version of Purple Rain began as a country-tinged sketch mailed to Stevie Nicks. She turned it down, telling him it felt more like a movie than a song, and she was more right than she knew. On August 3, 1983, Prince and the Revolution played the song live at Minneapolis's First Avenue Club at a benefit concert for the Minnesota Dance Theater that also happened to be 19-year-old guitarist Wendy Melvoin's very first show with the band. The whole set captured on a mobile recording truck borrowed from New York's record plant. That live take, only lightly overdubbed afterward at Sunset Sound, became the version heard on the album and in the film, which spent 24 consecutive weeks at #1 on the Billboard 200. And Purple Rain was also the final song Prince ever performed live, just 1 week before his death in April 2016. Number 3. Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, 1992.
So goodbye, but please.
Dolly Parton wrote it in an afternoon back in 1973. Nearly 20 years later, it almost wasn't used at all. Whitney Houston was originally set to cover a completely different song for her film debut, The Bodyguard, until her co-star Kevin Costner pushed hard for Dolly Parton's I Will Always Love You instead, and specifically insisted on the now iconic a cappella opening, telling the production team it needed to show how deeply her character loved him. Recorded in a single session at Ocean Way Recording in Los Angeles on April 22, 1992, Houston's version spent 14 consecutive weeks at #1, a chart record for the longest run atop the American Hot 100 at that time, and helped the Bodyguard soundtrack sell more than 45 million copies worldwide, the best-selling movie soundtrack in history.
You have all you dreamed of.
Dolly Parton first heard it while driving her own car and had to pull over near a Walgreens, stunned that her quiet country original had somehow become this, a moment she has called one of the greatest experiences of her career. Number 2, Michael Jackson, Beat It, 1983. Producer Quincy Jones called him for a favor. He hung up on Quincy Jones 4 times, thinking it was a prank call. Guitarist Eddie Van Halen genuinely didn't believe he was talking to the real Quincy Jones when he was first asked to record a solo for Michael Jackson's Beat It, and once he realized the call was real, he kept the entire session secret from his own bandmates. Van Halen played the solo for free, purely as a favor, and even rearranged the song's chord structure himself, because the section he'd been asked to solo over had no chords underneath it at all, a change Jackson approved on the spot. Released February 21st, 1983, Beat It spent 3 weeks at #1 and helped push Thriller to a record-setting 37 non-consecutive weeks atop the Billboard 200, a record that still stands today, while contributing to Jackson's haul of 8 Grammy Awards in a single night at the 1984 ceremony. Number 1, Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, 1975.
Carry on, as if nothing really matters.
He started writing it as a teenager, years before the band that made it famous even existed. And back then, it wasn't called Bohemian Rhapsody at all. At art college in the late 1960s, Freddie Mercury sketched an early fragment he privately called the Cowboy Song, built around one dark opening line, long before Queen had formed. The devil put aside for me, for me. By August 1975, that fragment had grown into a full 6-minute suite, recorded across 5 different studios over 3 punishing weeks, with the operatic section alone eating up an entire week. And the harmonies from Mercury, Brian May, and Roger Taylor overdubbed so many times, reportedly up to 180 layers, that engineers said the analog tape had worn nearly transparent. Their own record label doubted a nearly 6-minute song would ever get radio play, until Queen slipped a copy to DJ Kenny Everett, who played it 14 times over a single weekend on Capitol Radio, forcing the label's hand and sending Bohemian Rhapsody to #1 on the UK charts for 9 weeks that Christmas, then back to #1 again 16 years later, the week Freddie Mercury died in 1991. 10 artists, 10 deeply researched, verified true stories, one golden era of pop that still hasn't let go of us. If this hit you right in the nostalgia, hit subscribe. Pop Chronicles counts down the real stories behind the songs every single week.